My boyfriend Adam, 26, claimed he was a virgin, saying, "For me, sex is sacred." 8 months later, I discovered he'd hidden a trip to a prostitute and kept lying, saying, "Some things are better off unsaid." Can I trust him again after this? I am now a 19-year-old female, and my boyfriend, who is now 26 years old, met 8 months ago on Tinder. We clicked immediately and began dating 2 weeks later. Please do not judge based on our ages, as I have my own preferences regarding men, and I have always shown interest in those who are significantly older than me for various reasons. From the very beginning of our relationship, I chose to be open about my past with him and share any information he requested. For context, I am a virgin, which is what I seek in my partners. Naturally, I was aware that at the age of 26, my boyfriend, who I will refer to as Adam, might not be a virgin, as he is quite attractive, has a nice style, and drives a well-maintained car. When this topic was raised, Adam claimed that he is still a virgin and has never felt desperate to have sex. For him, sex is more than just casual encounters. It is something sacred and pure. I could hardly believe what I was hearing, as I never thought that men like him existed, and he certainly did not fit the typical stereotype. However, I could not shake the feeling that there was more to his story, and that in his years of life he had definitely had some sexual interactions. When I asked him about it, he stated that he had never touched any women or even shared a proper kiss, nor had he been in any relationships at all. In my mind, I thought I was incredibly lucky and that he was the man of my dreams, until I discovered only 8 months later that he is not as perfect as he seemed. Firstly, while I am a virgin, I performed oral sex for the first time in the past, and I informed him of this because I dislike lying or pretending to be perfect with no flaws. On the day Adam and I started dating, we were at a restaurant enjoying ourselves with some playful teasing. We intended to go to a nightclub afterward, but first, he had to go home to change into something more formal. Fast forward about 2 months after that incident, he revealed that when he went home to change his clothes because he was experiencing discomfort, he went into the bathroom and did what men do. I did not question him further, although I asked if he watched pornography, and he denied it, stating that watching pornography is cheating. Because we were already sexually active but had not engaged in sexual intercourse yet, the boundary regarding pornography was established, and he was aware that I had been watching pornography prior to our relationship, while he claimed that the last time he watched pornography was before meeting me. Throughout our entire relationship, I asked him multiple times if he had ever masturbated without me or watched pornography, which he consistently denied. One day, I found an archived message in his phone on WhatsApp from a girl dated in 2023, which contained prices for nude photographs, sex, and her location. Personally, I do not respect men who visit prostitutes or pay for any sexual services. I confronted Adam about what I had found, to which he explained that he discovered her on a website where individuals sell items at prices they negotiate, and he only wanted to show a colleague from another workplace that there were prostitutes on that site. I also inquired why the message had not been deleted and was instead archived, to which he replied, "I do not even use WhatsApp, despite using it to call my father." I brushed it off and continued our relationship, eventually forgetting about the situation. Additionally, on the day I discovered that message, Adam learned that I had performed oral sex, and he was quite upset but accepted what had happened and moved on. Last week, Adam was over at my house, sitting at the kitchen table with my father, but they took a break from that to chat and watch an animated movie. I walked over and felt the urge to check his phone. For the first time ever, he started biting his nails and appeared anxious. I thought that was odd, and when I left the kitchen, I took his phone with me, prompting him to give me a strange look. I began checking the settings and battery usage, where I discovered that one night he had used Safari for 1 hour, but all the tabs in Safari had been deleted. Usually, he never deletes tabs in Safari, which seemed suspicious. I also noticed that he had used a certain app the night we went to bed at 11 p.m. When I asked him about it, he claimed he had been watching YouTube videos. However, he does not have YouTube installed on his phone. When I pointed out that he did not have a YouTube history in Safari, he insisted that he used the private browser to watch some videos. He also claimed that he listened to a song he found on Shazam earlier and watched an anime video that included that song. When I checked the music app, I could not find the specific song. Naturally, I began accusing him of watching pornography, and he denied it. We engaged in a heated argument over the phone, and I told him that we were done. While Adam continued to deny watching pornography, he ultimately revealed that the last time he had watched pornography was the night we were at the restaurant when his private parts were hurting, and he attempted to act as if he had told me this before, even though he had not. He stated that was the last day he ever watched pornography, and that he felt too embarrassed to admit it because he feared I would think poorly of him. In reality, I was more upset about the fact that he had lied to me, even after swearing he had never watched pornography throughout our entire relationship. I do not know why, but I could not shake the feeling that he had been watching pornography, and I began connecting the dots that indicated he most likely had. Some of those indicators included the fact that he would shower for almost 40 minutes. I had watched him shower at his place, and he definitely did not need 40 whole minutes just to take a shower. Additionally, for background details, he told me that he used to masturbate in the shower. During the same night when he admitted to watching pornography, he called me later, crying, and stated that he needed to confess something to me, assuring me that it would be the last lie he ever hid from me. For some background, when I confided in him about my sexual history, he also revealed that a few years ago, his ex-colleagues tried to pressure him into having sex, claiming that it would help him have a glow-up, act more masculine, and earn money, adding that it was shameful to be a virgin at his age, especially for a man. The story began like this. He and his coworkers were out having some drinks, and there were two girls present. One was single, and the other was the girlfriend of a coworker. He started flirting with the single girl, but another guy intervened, and Adam told that guy to back off because he wanted to sleep with her. Later, the girl agreed to his proposition and they went to her place. She undressed herself, and when he took off his pants, he could not get an erection. She asked him what was wrong, to which he responded with nothing, put his pants back on, and left. While Adam was telling me this story, he attempted to make it amusing by substituting the word sleep with for a more vulgar term, a term usually reserved for conversations with friends rather than with his girlfriend, which upset me. I am the type of person who does not dwell on someone else's past. What is in the past is in the past, so I remained silent about the incident that night. Returning to the night when he called me crying, he said he needed to share something about the incident that had occurred years ago. He asked if I remembered the day I found that archived message, to which I replied yes, and he then admitted that he had never visited that girl's house, but instead he went to a prostitute. I was taken aback upon hearing this and requested more details. He explained that she was naked, and when he took off his pants he could not maintain an erection, even when she attempted to assist him manually. He also mentioned that she commented on how he was wasting her time, and since he still needed to pay her, he left the money on the table and departed. For the first time in 8 months, I told him we needed to take a break, and he ended up experiencing some depressed days and sleepless nights. He understands how I feel about men who visit prostitutes, and I could not bear to continue dating someone with that background. I could not believe that the man with whom I was intimate had been with prostitutes, but what hurt the most was that he had deceived me for such a long time. I recalled the times I made him swear that he was not hiding anything from me. He promised on his entire family, including himself, that nothing was concealed. When I confronted him about my reluctance to date a man who had frequented prostitutes, he started comparing my situation regarding oral sex with his and claimed that he accepted my past, asserting that what I had done was equally as bad as his circumstances. I do not care that he visited a prostitute, but I am upset that he was not honest with me and did not show me the respect to disclose the truth. I feel as if I cannot trust him anymore. What if he is concealing more from me? He pleaded for forgiveness and for a second chance, but when I look at him, I cannot bring myself to touch him. My parents adore him and his parents love me as well. I am his first love and he does not want to lose me. He is a gentleman. He has never raised his voice at me, never called me names, and is always patient with me, even though I have a very strong ego. He has never given me a reason to doubt him, and he claims that I have changed him for the better, assuring me that he will do everything in his power to treat me like a princess and regain my trust. I could not ask for a better partner. He is wonderful in every way. I feel as though I have lost all my feelings for him, and everything he says now feels like a lie to me. I cannot decide whether to break up with him or give him a second chance. Summary. Story 2. I broke up with my boyfriend over his drinking at his frat formal. You're just being a drama queen, he snapped as I cried in the bathroom. When I tried to express my feelings, he just spun it back on me. Now I'm questioning everything. What should I do next? TLDR. I broke up with my boyfriend at his fraternity formal due to his lack of respect for my feelings regarding his drinking. Hello, this is my first post here, so I apologize for any formatting issues or misspellings. I am on an iPhone. I also apologize for the length of this post. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 months and are in a medium-distance relationship. I had never had a problem with his drinking until we attended a semi-formal together. He prepared for the event by having a glass full of straight whiskey and took several whiskey shots at the venue. I was not bothered by this because I had seen him do it before. He could always take care of himself and still enjoy himself. I was wearing a short, flowy dress, and while we were dancing, he picked me up, causing the back of my dress to ride up and reveal my thong. I was mortified when I felt it and told him to put me down. Instead, he spun me around and everyone saw. He apologized afterward, saying he did not hear me over the music, but I was still upset. We sat down to discuss it, but he was not really listening to what I was saying and kept trying to put his hand under my dress in the middle of the conversation. When I became angry, he got upset and went to get another drink. I followed him and pulled him aside near the bathrooms to talk about how he needed to slow down his drinking because we had plans afterward, and I was concerned that he would not be able to make it. He was still not paying attention to me and attempted to pull me into the men's bathroom to have some fun, which infuriated me further. He then walked into the bathroom and tried to buy some cocaine from his friend right in front of me. I had previously told him that I did not want him doing that, and he had claimed he quit a year ago. I was extremely upset but continued to try to have a good time. Eventually, he started mouthing off to the wrong people, and the older guys kicked him out of the venue. At that point, he was stumbling and more intoxicated than I had ever seen him. We ended up waiting in the lobby of a hotel for our Uber, where I went to the bathroom to cry. When I came out, I learned that he had gone to the hotel bar, but fortunately, his friends were with him and informed the bartender that he was cut off and to just give him orange juice. He had been ordering screwdrivers. We went home, but it seemed like he was oblivious to the fact that I was upset and kept trying to get me in bed with him. I repeatedly said no, explaining that he was drunk and needed to sleep. After that night, we had a serious conversation in which I expressed that his behavior was unacceptable. I considered breaking up with him, and he was mortified by everything he had done, apologizing to me repeatedly and to everyone else who was there. I told him that for me to be comfortable remaining in our relationship, he needed to stop drinking liquor for a while until he learned to control his drinking. He agreed but broke his promise a couple of weeks later when he drove drunk for an hour to my home. I scolded him over the phone because I was not there, and I have lost people close to me due to drunk drivers. He eventually convinced me to forgive him, and he behaved well for about 2 months until yesterday. This past weekend was his fraternity formal in another state. I told him leading up to the formal that I was feeling anxious about his drinking and just wanted him to respect my feelings by not taking shots and slowing down when I asked him to. He complained but eventually agreed. We arrived and everything was great. We had a good time during the day. We went to dinner with his friends and their dates where we all started drinking margaritas. He consumed significantly more than I did but insisted he was sober whenever I asked how he was feeling. We went to a bar and the first hour was fun, but then I went to the bathroom and upon my return could not find anyone I knew except for my boyfriend. I approached him at the bar to ask where everyone was, but it seemed that he did not hear me and walked past me into the crowd and I lost sight of him. I sat at our table for about 15 minutes waiting, but I could not see anyone. When I looked for him, I found him in a separate outside area I was unaware of, surrounded by people I did not know. I approached some of the other girls and briefly complained about feeling abandoned but decided to let it go and offered to buy a round of drinks. While I was getting drinks, I noticed my boyfriend's best friend approach him, point at me and talk to him. My boyfriend then came over and said that everyone was telling him I was upset with him, which was not entirely true. I might have been a little annoyed, but I had moved past it and was getting drinks. I explained this to him, however he would not let it go and kept approaching me throughout the night, insisting that everyone had told him I was angry, which I did not mention to anyone else after my initial comment to my friend. Each time he approached me he appeared increasingly intoxicated. I asked him to slow down and drink some water, but he ignored me and ordered another drink and a shot. At this point I was somewhat upset but still wanted to enjoy the night. I asked him to dance with me but he kept leaving to go to the bathroom. I eventually found out that he was throwing up, which made me more upset, and I asked him to slow down. He became angry with me. We ended up arguing and he could not understand why I was mad, continually telling me it was an insignificant issue and questioning why I was making it a big deal. I tried to explain how I felt that he did not respect me or my feelings, but he was not listening. He admitted to me that he was an alcoholic and asked if that was what I wanted to hear. When I said no, he repeatedly asked what I wanted him to say. I requested that he tell me the truth about whether he was drunk since he had insisted all night that he was sober when it was clear that he was not. We returned to the hotel, where he fell asleep in the car and then passed out in the room. I went into the bathroom to cry, and we were sharing the room with another couple I had never met. The male partner watched me cry, which made me feel uncomfortable and unhappy. I decided to pack my things and leave to get my own hotel room. I now think that this was a poor decision on my part because all of his friends witnessed me leaving. I texted him to let him know that I had left and where I was, then went to bed. The following morning he panicked, calling me multiple times, and we eventually talked. The entire conversation revolved around him asking why I left and attempting to turn the situation on me, claiming it was a minor argument and expressing his fear that I would simply leave in the future of our relationship. I attempted to explain my feelings, but admittedly I did not articulate my thoughts very well because it was not just one isolated incident. It was a culmination of everything. Ultimately, I suggested that we take a break or perhaps even break up for a while. I am someone who struggles with self-hatred and tend to internalize much of what he did during our discussions, which I know is unhealthy, but I was trying to protect his feelings. I apologized for leaving, but he did not offer any apologies for his actions. I left that day and returned home. This is not even a complete account of everything that has transpired in our relationship, and I have forgiven him for a great deal. I am now seeking advice because I feel terrible and am questioning my decision to break up with him, as I miss him greatly. We had good times together, and I feel like such a horrible person for ruining his formal the very day we broke up. The main reason I am posting is that I have plans to attempt to reconcile. but I need advice on what boundaries to set and what topics to discuss during our conversations. I also need guidance on how to express my feelings in a way he might understand.